Okay, so for this week, we're going to be talking about the right hand down technique and the articulated G sharp. So, first, let's talk about the right hand down technique. The general idea, the basic idea of it is while you're playing either a C or a C sharp below the break, you can keep these two fingers or these three fingers down in order to make the tuning a little bit more stable and allow for more fluidity when crossing the break. So I'm just going to show you an example of what the C and C sharp sound like without the cover. So this is right hand off. All right, and now this is right hand on. Two fingers. This is two fingers and the right hand down. Now this is three. You can't hear much of a difference because I'm obviously not the best saxophone player, but there is a little bit of a difference. The C sharp isn't so out of tune with the right fingers down, and that's basically the main reason you would have the fingers down, but it also allows you to have more fluidity in between crossing the break and staying under the break. So I'm going to play this little exercise. It just goes from G to C, up to E above the break, to G, and then it alternates from E to C, and when we go to that C, we can keep our right fingers down for the E, because it alternates from E to C. So all I'm doing for that movement is I'm moving my right hand. I'm depressing the octave key and these two fingers. So when you're fingering the C, you can keep these two fingers down and this finger down. And then when you go to the E, all you have to do is depress your index, ring, and thumb, as opposed to having to push down your index, ring, thumb, and then index and middle on the right hand. It just kind of saves a step when you're doing that. And I'll show you. Let me stand up, actually. So I'll show you how that works. I'll show you again real fast. But this time I'm just going to alternate from the E to the C. And I'll just show you how you can keep these two fingers down, and it's much more simple. Well, you can see my pinky's kind of moving. You want to try and not allow that to happen. That was my fault. You don't want your pinky to stray away too far from those pinky keys because you never know when you might have to use them. You can also do this, and you can keep all three fingers down if you're going from like a C to a D or something, or maybe even a D to a C sharp. And you see my right finger is all that I need to finger those notes. I'm talking about my left fingers. My left fingers are all I really need to finger those notes. Okay? So if I want to go from a C sharp to a D above the break, all I have to worry about is my left hand. My right hand is already ready to play the D. So I'll just alternate from C sharp to D only using my left hand. As you can see, it's a little bit easier, especially when you're crossing the break a lot in a passage. You can do that with C as well. So we really just do that to make it a little easier to go across the break, and it also fixes the tuning a little bit on those notes. But it only works on C and C sharp. Those are the only ones you can do it with, because you try to do it with B, you're going to get a different note out. So whenever you're playing a C or a C sharp, try and cover 2 or 3 holes, depending on, it could be depending on whatever key you're in, or what the next note might be. So we think about that. Okay, so that is the right hand down technique. Let's talk about the articulated G sharp. So the articulated G sharp, sorry, hold on. Yeah, you can keep your pinky key, your little left hand pinky G sharp key, this one, you can keep that down because it depresses this key. Whenever you have the right hand down, that key right here, this one, that's what I'm talking about, you can see it, it's right here. That's the only key that this G sharp button, you could say, is operating. But whenever you have any of these keys in the right hand down, you're pressing down, you're going to have that down anyway. Well, I mean, it lifts it up, I should say. I'm sorry. It lifts it up. But if you have this lifted, sorry, I'm being very confusing. Let me say this again. So you have this pinky key G sharp. The pinky key G sharp lifts this key up. But if I have this key lifted up, it's lifted right now, and I press down any of these right hand keys, it's going to lower it. So say I have a G in the key signature, you can leave this pinky key down for most of those notes, unless of course you're playing above a G sharp. But if you're playing below a G sharp, you can keep that pinky key down, because if you're playing with the right hand, it's not going to matter because the right hand will override that note. So I'll kind of show you how that works. If you alternate from a G sharp to an F sharp, you can do that and keep this pinky key down. You don't have to lift up that pinky key, because honestly, it makes it a little bit not as good. So you can keep that pinky key down. It makes it a little more fluid. You're only having to press one down. You're not having to lift one up at the same time as you're pushing one down. It's just a little bit easier. So I'll show you, alternate from that G sharp to the F sharp, and I'll show you how you can just keep the pinky key down. And it works above the break as well. And we use this for a lot of the same reasons we use the right hand down technique. Mostly it's just to make it a little bit more fluid when you're going from note to note and there's a G sharp. It'll just be a little bit easier to go through that passage if you have a G sharp, and you can just, knowing that you can leave this pinky key down as you play that. But it only works if you're playing below the G sharp. If you're playing above the G sharp, some problems might occur because these fingers do not override this key right here. Only the bottom fingers do that. So that's all we have for teaching week 5, and I hope you enjoyed my video.